Alright, this site looks amazing. Let's take a look around. You know, seeing these campsites really makes Scenic State Park live up to its name now with campsites like this. Oh, it works! Oh my god! It's that close and I couldn't see it because of the trees. We're going to start off hiking on this trail. Head up this way towards Pine Lake. Whoops. So this is the picnic grounds and lodge parking area here. But you can more than likely park here for the backpack sites as well. The entry point for the backpack sites, the hike begins just up the road up here. just adjacent to the lodge campground entry right here. There's a trail right here. It looks like you could probably park in here too. Nice. Coon Sandwich Lake. Alright, we are at Scenic State Park in Big Fork, Minnesota. Right near the lodge campground. We're going to start off hiking on this trail. Head up this way towards Pine Lake. And there is SOS only for the cell service. At least right now, it might just be spotty. It's a little buggy, so I might be swatting and swinging around a little or a lot. It's approaching. So right now it seems as though the mosquitoes and the deer flies are the two biggest harassers. So far today we've gotten several rounds of sprinkles, some light rain. I do have some rain over gear in case it picks up. That looks like the striped deer fly. There we go. As you can see, this path is pretty straightforward. These flies are very aggressive. Pretty happy I brought the boonie hat. That'll help in addition to the do-rag. Yeah, crazy. Sorry you had to witness that. Supposed to get pretty hot and humid today. And possible severe thunderstorms later on and overnight. Some kind of arachnid on me. The redhead. See if I can maybe identify it. Not this time. These striped deer flies are really crazy. Another fun fact about Scenic State Park is it is located in Itasca County. aside from the bugs that are aggressively harassing me, this is a relatively easy trail to hike on so far, but it is stretched out a little further and longer than I was thinking that it might be when I was mapping it out. I'd say it's about taking about 30% longer than I was estimating it might take. And I'm using the Avenza Maps app, and the orange area is the area that I drew for my potential hike that I plan on doing today, which I may or may not cover it 100% as I planned. It's pretty aggressive. It's about 10.5 miles. All in all, what I plan to do for hiking today here. But right now we're headed to Pine Lake. Oh, we are right here. And we're gonna go up and curve around here this way. It does verge off over there as well. Make sure I'm not delusional. And we might go around and come back. So I might not come back the same way that I entered. But this might actually be a ski trail. So in the summer, those are usually really grown in. It's not a wise choice to walk them. sure we stay on point here. Okay, this might be the trail that goes that way. Alright. I'm interested in this trail, covering that sometime today during my hiking here. Okay. The fire tower trail is this way. I plan on going around this way first and then making my way back through there, coming out here and then going there. It may not go as planned. I know my footage can be a little jiggly and bouncy, but just trying to mainly provide information, or hundreds to thousands of, wow, it's a gutter snake. That was a really good one. Wow. Creeped me out at first. So yeah, my goal is providing information and hundreds to thousands of pictures, essentially. So if there's a part that you're interested in and it's real jiggly or shaky for you, just maybe just put it in slow motion or do a frame by frame. Whew. That was probably the healthiest garter snake I've ever seen in plain view like that. So we got a trails converging a little. I'll just keep it straight. Now this park is further north Minnesota than where I've traveled historically for the most part for hiking, so there might be more severe creatures out here like bears and wolves. I don't think those snakes are dangerous. But they have psychological effects if you're not used to them. Kind of get creeped out. Now I think the twigs are snakes now. I'm getting more used to them though. I don't like being on the other side of those state park signs. You see here the dark area? This is private property. this road is plotted out as a trail on the map, so it should be okay, but I still don't really like that, how close it is. In this area down here, you literally cut right through private property. Well, usually that's what the darker means, is private property. And you can see how sometimes they're laid out weird, like congressional districts. You gotta be cognizant of where you are. Make sure that you're reading the map correctly and that you have an updated map. All right, we're getting closer to Pine Lake up here. On the other side of these signs. I don't like that. And it does appear that there is a trail over here. I'm just going to cut over because it's possible that I did plot that on potentially private property, even though it looked like it was in the park. So we probably wanted to veer on this trail. Just try to be aware of that. So we are over more now. So it can be confusing like that sometimes. That happened to me at Crow Wing State Park as well. So it's good to know. Okay, another decision point. Make sure we stay on task. There's some information up there, a map. You see how this kind of cuts over here early. You can also go this way. There's a map down here, so I'm going to head this way. Ski only sign. So that road ended up converging over here anyways. So you can see how it can be kind of weird and confusing. How you had the state park sign over there, private property over here, yet this road right down here. You got a fallen sign over here. And this is DNR signage. So I'm not even gonna look to see what that's about, but it looks like snowmobile. Yeah, that's probably what that is, a snowmobile here. Those get pretty grown in the summertime. So we're on the Herb Brand Istrum Trail now, supposedly. And we are right here. We started off down here and made our way up through here. So it was a pretty simple hike. There was really no ups or downs. Pretty straightforward, literally. I don't really like how this is a trail with like where vehicles can go on it, like a DNR forest road. I would prefer just a regular walking type of trail, but what's nice about this is it's wider, more open. So it probably cuts down on the bugs a little bit. Here's a little bit of an incline. Not too bad though. Okay, so not sure if this is occupied yet, but this is backpack site number 1. Oh, it's a little bit of a hike from the vehicle parking area. But it's a relatively easy hike. Alright, this site looks amazing. Let's take a look around. Oh wow. Yeah, just go under it and push up. Be careful, there's no insects hiding in there when you do that though. That's one of the nicest bear savers or bear box I've ever seen. So there must be some type of a somewhat of a bear potential here. And there's Pine Lake. Pretty steep to go down there, but you can go down there. But you would want to be cautious in doing so. So the website said that this site got reserved for tonight. And whoever is going to be here tonight, you scored. Probably a good spot for a tent here. I'm kind of against hammocks, so I'm not really gonna try to look for spots for those. And here we have the Thunderbox, as worded by Sally Suntala. I recommend you check them out. And Sally, I hope I'm saying your name right, and if you're watching this, I would recommend this site to you here. It does have a George Crosby Manitou vibe to it. It's kind of like a Benson Lake vibe. Very nice. So for me, my two-person tent, I could probably put it here. I could probably put it over here. I wouldn't want to put it there. That's kind of the entry. So those two spots here would be ideal candidates. And I'd probably end up just going right here. So one decent sized tent here and another one over here. Then it might get a little tricky to find comfort outside of those two spots. Might not be too bad in here. Yeah, this site is awesome. I really like it here. I'm really urged to just take my time here. I would highly recommend this backpack site. And I'm probably gonna potentially add it to my own docket for consideration in the future. There really isn't any practical, feasible lake access though, so FYI if that matters to you. Yeah, the kid in me was just saying don't leave. It's crazy. You could put a tent over here actually too. Oh yeah, that's a really good spot. I don't like being by the entry this close and this far away from the fire. But if you have like several people here, it's a good spot here too. This would work out. A little bit of a slant, but it would work out. And it does look like a lot of hammocking opportunities too, but I hate those. But you might want to bring extensions just to be safe in case you got to get creative. Wow. Now, oftentimes I'll ruck in my gear first on a backpack site, and then I'll go back and I'll ruck in my firewood. That seems practical in this situation. Although ideally you'd only want to make the one trip. It's nice because when you get here, you're going downhill for it's a downward incline or decline, depending on how much gear you got. You might be a little tired by the time you get in here. So aside from that incline over here, this would be really nice. This incline here, but then it's downhill. This site is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Surpassed my expectations. So that's backpack site number 1 at Scenic State Park, right off of Pine Lake here. It's in the upper northwestern part of the park, or the northern part of the park. And there's another backpack site number 2 just down the road here. There might be a closer parking somewhere. If you're aware of it, let me know. But so far, from whence we came, the boating area here and the lodge area here, which would be a little further of a walk from the lodge area. Those are the 2 practical ones that I found. Alright, let's see if we can check out backpack site number 2 now. Oh, that site is so cool. I got a feeling like I just found out my stocks went up or something, you know, something similar to that type of feeling. Just feel it bubbling inside, like a rewarding feeling emanating from within. It's a really cool site. It smells really good over here from the wood. before I headed out on this hike here, I used one of the vault toilets here at the boat launch area, and there was a sign in there that said every single vault toilet saves 5,000 gallons of water per year. Something like that. Oh, that's a fun fact. Alright, this is backpack site number 2. So this site is very open. There is a lot of space for several tents. There's even a shelter here. And I could actually set up my 2-person tent in here, which is amazing. I never even thought of doing something like that. Oh, John was here. Wow. I've known 2 Chongs in my life. One was a female and one was a male. I guess they still are. Wow. It would be so cool to have a tent in here on just a vicious stormy night. very quiet all of a sudden. It's like a really creepy quiet, actually, which is a phenomenal blessing. There's an area back here too. Wow. Wow. Little trail. Don't want to wander off too far. Yeah. So we'll leave that a mystery. And you can take that down there, but you're going to want to be pretty careful. Now you might be able to get a watercraft in there if you know what you're doing. Wow. You know, seeing these campsites really makes Scenic State Park live up to its name now, with campsites like this. Too bad there's only 2 of them. But there are a handful of watercraft sites as well. And those seem pretty popular. There are a lot of little small stumps all over, even in the other site. So this latrine, oh, there's 2 of them. There's no courtesy wall. So you gotta be brave. I'm not a fan of that. Well, I usually camp alone anyway, so it wouldn't really matter, but still, you're in the open. Yeah, but 2 of them. Yeah, the 2-person tent that I use, I could probably set up, man, maybe 7 or 8 of them here. So this site is awesome as well. I would recommend this site as well. This one isn't as far away from the main trail here, and it's pretty level. Alright, that is backpack site number 2. And this is awesome as well. I would highly recommend this one as well. Alright, so you saw the hike in here. Started from in here, went up Fire Tower Trail, and we verged away from it here and just kept going straight. Turned here, and the backpack sites are right here, right off Pine Lake. And the fire tower is down here. So we're just going to continue on. Maybe a little bit of extra info in case you're interested. We're going to continue down this trail and then come back around this way. And it does continue straight through beyond the park. We're not going to go out there to see if there's parking potentially. We're just going to turn here and head back and go across the fire tower, which is directly this way from us. I can't make it out because of the tall trees. And I did see a sign that it was closed when I did my scout of the lodge campground a couple months ago, early May of 2025. So it may not even be open, which I don't even care. I don't really want to go on it, but I'm hoping that we can at least walk the trail past it. And then in doing so, we'll determine if there's other parking maybe in here, which I doubt it. If you're aware of any parking though, other than near the lodge area and the boat launch area, let me know. Let all of us know. Alright, so let's go take a hike, check it out. And just as a retrospective from the sites we just took a look at, me personally, I am still leaning heavily towards backpack site number 1. But if I were to camp there and I had the need to come back one day, site 2 is awesome as well. And I don't like to repeat sites, so that means I got 2 potential ones that I can come back to at Scenic State Park. We're in the main Chase Point campground and the lodge campgrounds. You're just crammed with other people. It's pretty pathetic, really, how they laid it out. It really is. But this is amazing. And I'm kind of shocked that there's only 2 backpack sites. So this trail is probably what we saw inside of that other site that we said we'll leave a mystery. It comes out here. Now here we see a state park sign. So this isn't a trail. This goes right into private property, the dark. Unless the dark is not private property on this map. Usually it is though. I just don't see it calling it out as being such, which it usually does. It says private property. But it looks like what private property would look like. Okay. So in looking at this map, I would assume that the trail goes this way, but it doesn't. This trail that we mapped out goes this way. Oh, the one directly across from backpack site 1 goes to the fire tower. Okay. All right. Wow, it almost smells like a Christmas tree in here. Like a fragrance you would buy or something, like only a real fragrance. Just real rich. Herb Grandstrom, mile 25. So this trail is moving along about as quick as I would have expected from looking at it. Which is kind of just a subjective feeling, basically. That was a survey marker. Whew. And I do got to move around a lot because of the flies and the mosquitoes. They're pretty aggressive. They stopped for a while, but then they started picking back up. Okay. Here's a cut through. It's just not on the map. Just right here. Actually, this is telling me which way to go. There's a little arrow you can't see. I haven't figured out how to make that larger. I don't know if you can, but there's a little arrow at the tip of the blue ball. It's like a compass pointing you towards where you're facing. It'd probably be better if this was just like a triangle instead of a circle. It'd be easier to see. That's one of those end user ideas where a developer would probably be like, wow, of course, if I do say so myself. You always, when you're actually using something, you really know what you need and what you don't need, and you start having ideas of what would be nice. I'm probably going to drop in timestamps as a courtesy in the description for this one. That smells really amazing. Got that Christmas tree vibe. The bugs are pretty belligerent though. Now, I'm still not wearing any bug spray or permethrin. So there is beautiful scenery here, and it does smell really good, but it's just kind of like a road, and I'm not a big fan of like hiking on roads. I kind of like the cliche trail look. That's one thing that I'm not I don't like that too much, that it's not like a trail, but it's nice and wide. You don't really have a lot of tall grass to worry about. You know, I'm not doing it now, but a couple years ago when I was hiking and rucking, I would have a cotton shamag on me, and when the flies got real crazy, I'll just keep swinging it around my body, and that worked pretty good. So if I had one on me now, that's what I'd be doing. There's a little pack of flies and mosquitoes harassing me right now. But it's kind of like 100 human beings trying to fight a silverback. I just wish there was like a psychological effect on the flies and the mosquitoes when they saw their relatives getting squished and broken. But it does not deter them. I guess we can learn something from that. Alright, we're almost towards the edge where we're gonna turn around and head in the other direction on a parallel path towards the fire tower. So this is a trail that you might hike if you were camping at one of the backpack sites and you weren't exhausted from backpacking in. You might check this trail out here. But like I mentioned, it is essentially a road. Like DNR forestry road, something like that. Every time I swat away a mosquito, I burn more calories and chisel away at more chub and unhealthy body fat. Which that really should be mitigated with proper nutrition. You can't out exercise, you can't out bench press, you can't outrun poor nutrition. If you want to look better and feel better, you don't head to the gym, get a membership. You head to the kitchen, you throw out all the crap, and you start consuming proper nutrition. And once you do that, then you can go ahead and try to mold it. Or you can do both at the same time, which is usually the case. Then people tend to throw away their nutrition discipline, and they think they can work it off in the gym, or they can work it off by jogging. And the older you get, for the most part, your metabolism gets slower. So with each year, it slowly gets harder and harder. It's an uphill battle, literally. Until, if you live long enough, you turn like, I don't know, 80 or 70 or 80, and keeping weight can be an issue. Alright, so the grass is pretty tall in here. This is tick country. Oh. We definitely want We definitely want to go this way, based on the map. This will just head us out into no man's land. Well, actually, this is a certain kind of a trail here. This is a trail that goes beyond this park specifically, just goes through it. The Herb Brandstrom Trail. Yeah, okay. Corridor 84 East. So that one would probably, I don't know how big it is, but it would probably take days, if not weeks. We got time, but we ain't got that kind of time. Alright, so we're heading down. And then when we get to the end here, we're going to take a right. Kind of head back in the direction we came. And then towards the fire tower. So, Fire Tower Trail. So a little bit more than just a scout. It's kind of a hike too, but probably just gonna make this a scout one. and I am planning on hiking other parts of the park today. So I'm contemplating doing another hike one separate from this one. I really want to do the Chase Point Glacial Esker Trail. Maybe take the boardwalk along the Chase Point campground as I head my way over there. That's another kind of iconic place to hike at this state park, is the boardwalk on the Chase Point campground. I got a little glimpse of it when I did my scout of the Chase Point campground, which I call a dark scout. Because I was melting down psychologically because they're in the process of removing the grass from all the campsites and replacing it with gravel due to complaints from too many bugs from the campers there. And it was the first year that they're going to try that. That's this year, 2025. So that was the first week of May I encountered that. So I was ranting and raving, and I just try to turn a negative into a positive and just kind of show my experience there. You still get a look at the sites, but being it was early May, they don't look as nice as they do right now. Other people took pictures of them and camped there within the last month from this date, and it looks a lot nicer once things grow in. But you're still you still got gravel, so. Which is fine if you're an RV camper. But I think there's more to camping than just bringing a second tiny home that you can afford into a park and turning on the air conditioner and the loud generator. Okay. Yeah, so it's a lot more grassy in here. Grass is still pretty wet from the rain. So this is actually working out because I brought my work boots today instead of my hiking boots, because those are falling apart, unfortunately. And I had a lot of aggressive hiking and scouting planned today and tomorrow. And there was a high risk that they would fall apart on me, which is pitiful on my part because I should have been maintaining them. So I don't even know if I can bring them back to life, which is sad because I like to wear them and then retire them before they're just, you got to throw them out while they're still good. I like to retire them, and then I keep them as backups in like the vehicle. So it's unfortunate. I may or may not try, but I'm probably gonna need to put some leather inside of the inside of the boot and Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it, actually. I think they're just falling apart, and it's just nostalgia that's kind of making me cling to them. But these work boots were pretty dirty, and I wanted to break them in, see how they work out in a hike. Because these are probably the perfect size, the perfect kind. My pant leg hasn't come up at all. They're nice and tall. The only problem is that they don't breathe well. That's the only problem. But they're already broken in, and I just wanted to see how well they worked out here in a hike. And they work beautifully. Technically my shoe size, or my foot size, is an 11. But these are 15s. So they're a little clunky and cumbersome to get used to, but I take out the insoles and I replace it with felt wool insoles that has wool, thick wool socks wrapped around them for cushioning, padding, moisture absorption, and odor mitigation. And then I wear wool socks on top of that as well. So they are cushiony. They reduce blisters and hot spots from occurring. It takes a while for them to start to develop. And I trip over them sometimes because they're so big, but I'm getting pretty used to them and I like it. That's a black-capped chickadee right there. There's a guy called Joel Candy Adventures on one of his camp trips. He was pointing to something and a black-capped chickadee landed on his finger, and it was so cool. Ever since I saw that, I've been trying to get him to land on my finger, but it's one of those magical moments that you can't really force. But they are a cool little type of bird. So I'm kind of thinking now maybe I should have just wrapped it up after we saw the second backpack site. So but still, it's informational and it's kind of cool to see what's out here. Kind of OCD too, so I was trying to iteratively make things better. A lot of times I can make things worse in doing so. But I did a scout of the backpack sites at Wild River State Park earlier this year. That's a really long one. I kind of just wanted to show every square inch of the whole journey, just for informational purposes. I really learned a lot from that one in editing and kind of what to do and speeding it up in certain spots turned out to not be a practical thing, and I was speeding stuff up for to save on file size. But then I just said, you know what, if it's going to be a big file, it's going to be a big file. I'm going to get storage for it. It's just the way it is. And ever since I kind of decided to do that, it's been real freeing, and just not caring about how long it takes or how big it gets for the most part. Just kind of showing it what it looks like. Because I just started getting out here in 2022. I was just hiding behind a computer for so long, hiding in a little room with a cloudy mind. So when I got started doing this, it's kind of a big deal, and I was really confused about simple stuff, and even walking to a park down the road for kids, but a playground, like that was a first baby step for me. Just a regular park in the city. Just started with that, did a few of those, and practiced walking around with a backpack with stuff in it, a rucksack. Then went to regional parks, did day hikes with a smaller pack and some gear. Try to do different pack sizes and different times of the year. Then get to the state parks and state forests. So this showing every square inch, I kind of care about that because it's informational. It'll help people, maybe push them in the right direction. Just kind of pivot away, use the screen to pivot away from the screen instead of pivot more into it, basically. But yeah, that Wild River State Park backpack sites, those can take an effort to get to them. There's really no going in, stashing your gear, leaving, getting more stuff and coming back. It's just not practical. You kind of got to go in with what you got in one round. Those took a lot longer to get to than I thought they would have. I ended up having to go back on another day and connecting the footage. All right, backtrack. Because I ran out of daylight on the first one. And then the George H. Crosby Manitou, that's going to be a tough one to try to get all those sites. I don't think doing those in one day is even a practical thing. And plus with people camping there, you almost got to chisel away at that. Do a few sites one time and then another time do a couple more. But I got 3 of them scouted right now. I think it's 20, 21, and 22, which are the easiest ones to get to. Right off of Benson Lake. So I got videos for all these scouts. But it's really nice to be able to look at them. Like be there and look around in 3D on a two-dimensional screen, but still, just the one picture, man. You might as well be looking at a picture of anything if you just got one picture. I mean, sometimes the one picture you get on a state park reservation campsites, it looks a lot like it, the one that you reserve, but you got different times of year. You got trees that aren't there no more. Or it's taken at a certain angle where your brain recreated what the rest would probably look like in your head, and it's totally wrong. There's some sites where your picnic table and your fire pit, you look right behind you and there's another fire pit for the other site right there. There's one in the lodge campground here at Scenic State Park like that. So this one has a painfully close neighbor, and in real life it's closer than you see it here on film, or digital film. There's an old movie called From a Whisper to a Scream. It's one of my favorite horror anthology movies when I used to watch movies. So sites like this can literally turn a whisper into a scream. Okay, so we're almost at the fire tower. We've got a pretty steep incline coming up right here. Pretty steep. Oh, there's another one. This would probably be fun going down with skis. in the winter with snow. This is very steep. Oh, wow. Yep. I think this means difficult. Okay. So this is the Fire Tower Trail. There's a fountain here. I don't know if it works. It looks like it probably will. Oh. 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 Okay. Wow. These are really hard to use. Oh, it works. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh. I haven't used one of those in a long time. That was really hard. So I guess this is where the fire tower was or something. I guess it's not here no more. I don't know much about the history here. Well, it says I'm right on it. Okay. Alright. There's nothing over here. There should be two trails. Here it is. So one of these trails will take us straight back to backpack site 1. No, it's been a while since we've been over there, huh? That was a bit of a detour. Oh, here it is. Wow, plain view. Plain view. It's that close and I couldn't see it because of the trees. This is the first fire tower I've ever visited at a state park. And I hate heights. I don't think you're allowed in here anyways. All right, let's harvest some literature. I saw one of those guys. Saw one of those at Cipher-Tu State Park. We might still see one here. You never know. Whew. Well, that's cool. It's a nice little bonus. That somewhat bland hike paid off in the end, if I do say so myself. All right. All right, since we already made an extra effort to check out that hike around and the fire tower, we're gonna go back down here, see where that connects, and then backtrack and head back over here. All right, that's this way. So this is the trail to backpack site 1 from the fire tower. So if you're at one of the backpack sites, I would recommend that you check out the fire tower. It's pretty close. That's not good. Oh man. All right, here we are, and it connected. All right, I'm gonna wish him a good camp trip tonight. So I'm really glad we got to take a look at those sites. Gonna want to put a bow on this properly before I head out on another portion of the hike. So we're gonna complete this fire tower trail around here to this point where we were earlier in that straightforward path on the way up here, and we'll wrap it up there. Well, yeah, this was a scout of the 2 backpack sites at Scenic State Park, located in Big Fork, Minnesota. Oh, there is some signal here too. I got 2 bars. Nice little bonus. I would highly recommend both of these sites. They're awesome. It's a little bit of a hike in, but it's a pretty easy hike. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 miles one way. Something like that. Yeah, it's probably closer to the 2 miles. Just kind of estimating in my head a little. could actually take this trail as well. When we were down here, well, where we're going to end up, it'll be the area that we were at earlier. You could take this trail instead of the route we took. It looks like they're a similar distance though. This one might actually be a little further than the one we took, and it looks like there's more of an incline on it. So I think the trail that we took in to get to the backpack sites was the ideal trail to take, specifically if you're carrying a bunch of gear. Trying to pace myself properly so I don't sweat too much. I don't have any water with me. I did hydrate pretty well before I left, but the more I sweat, the more I dehydrate and the more I attract the bugs. The bugs, they help me stay moving though. If they weren't here, I'd probably go a lot slower. I wouldn't cover as much. All right, coming along. We're about halfway through this last trail here, this last portion of it. So I do have a camp here tonight. I'm not going to document it, but it's in the Lodge Campground, site 70. And then my plan is tomorrow head out at about 9 a.m. or so, and I have 3 more state forest campgrounds to scout within the George Washington State Forest. So there's 6 of them total that I'm scouting. I've already scouted 3 of them. I got videos for those. And the 3 that I'm going to be scouting tomorrow are the Larson Lake Campground, the Thistledew Campground, and the Button Box Lake Campground. Now the Thistledew and the Button Box, there were maps of those campgrounds on the DNR website, but not the Larson Lake. So I'm not totally sure what the layout is for that one. And that's the first one I'm going to be tackling. And that's about I think it's like a 30-minute drive from here. And then that should take about maybe 30 to 40 minutes to scout, depending on how it's laid out. And then from there it's about a 15-minute, 20-minute drive to Thistledew. That'll probably take another 40 minutes, maybe an hour. And then from there it's only like another 10-minute drive to Button Box Lake Campground. And that'll take probably an hour or so for that one. Then I'll wrap it up and I'll head back to the cities, which would be a approximately 4-hour drive. So I got everything planned. Pretty prepared. We'll see how it goes. But even though it's going to be the future from right now, I'm pretty optimistic I'm going to be able to polish them off. So I'll have videos of those scouts almost immediately after this one, almost. I might do a specific hike video at Scenic State Park as well first. I'm really glad I got in a scout of these backpack sites. Really happy about that. It was kind of an ad hoc venture. Didn't really notice it was possible until like a week before. I'm getting ready to little red squirrel. Yeah, but I noticed it was feasible when I was plotting my hike here at Scenic State Park. I noticed they're gonna be right along an area that I wanted to hike in, which is this area we've been doing. One of the areas I want to do here. And neither of them were reserved. But then yesterday one of them got reserved and I was nervous we weren't going to be able to weasel in before the tenants arrived. But we did. We did. And I am very grateful for that. Last time I was here, I saw the Chase Point campground and the Lodge campground, and the Lodge it's okay, but the Chase Point really got to me, and I just almost gave up on this park. But after seeing these 2 backpack sites, this Scenic State Park, it found a place in my heart. That's a beautiful thing. I'm really glad. probably wind it down here in just a minute, so appreciate your time. Thanks for taking a look. If I'm watching this from the future, I'm proud of you, man. You did a good job. Thank you for your efforts. Thank you for getting out of here and doing things. Living life outside of a screen before you checked out. Although life behind a screen can be comfortable. It can also lead to panic attacks. There's a chipmunk, a baby chipmunk. Baby chipmunk. Wasn't able to capture that for you, but baby chipmunks are pretty adorable. Just realized I had one of my wrists didn't have a shock bracelet on it. So I used them all to hunker up my rain over gear on my chest rig. That's sacrilege to not have any on my wrists. Should always try to have at least 3 or 4 on each arm, on each wrist. You know, the people who think that those are weird, that they look weird, they have no idea how useful those things have been for me every single day in so many ways. It's like Spider-Man little webs. There's so much use for them. And then it's better than just wearing a gold bracelet where you're just showing off your ego. You care so much about gold. You can actually do stuff with them. It's practical. Yeah, I used to care about gold. I kind of know someone who still does care about gold a little too much. Once you're approaching your 50s, you post 40, you should have found other places in your heart that don't care about gold as much. You should be able to evolve out of that, but oh well. We all have our own journey. It does look nice. Okay, so we're converging on where we were earlier, where we split off. So I go up here and down here. Alright. I probably should get some water, but I'm gonna check out on this video here. Thanks for taking a look. Highly recommend those sites. Sites Backpack 1 and Backpack 2 by Pine Lake and Scenic State Park, located in Big Fork, Minnesota, in Itasca County. Take care.